G'day, fellas. Welcome to a casted game between Absolute Utopia on the Chinese and Aizamk on the United States. So spawning in on the east of the map is Absolute Utopia. Now, this guy is a player out of China. He's relatively new to the Definitive Edition, okay? He didn't play Legacy, and he is quite a good player. He's qualified for the Global Championships, which is going to be coming up next week, actually. So there's going to be a $5,000 prize pool for that, so he has made it inside of that. His opponent, who is spawning on the west of the map on the United States, is Aizamk. If you're unfamiliar with Aizamk, he is very famous in Age of Empires 3, almost infamous a little bit, I would say, for being a meta setter. So he sets the meta for a lot of civilizations he plays, and he's doing that with the United States. He's constantly exploring new strategies to find out what he can explore. And as a result, he's constantly sort of ahead of the meta in a way, and he always just sort of knows what's going to happen. And he's doing that with the United States here at the moment. So we're going to be taking a look at what he manages to pull off. So we take a look, Absolute Utopia picking up a 2 sheep treasure, not the best. Aizamk finding the 80 wood treasure. So if I was going to be listing, you know, which treasures on this map are going to be the best and which ones are going to be the worst, I tell you what, 80 wood would be up there as one of the best, and 2 sheep would probably be one of the worst. So definitely looks like a little bit of a victory for Aizamk in the early game. We'll take a look once he gets his shipment coming in. Going with the French Coureur de Bars coming in now. So we'll take a look at his deck. Very stock standard deck, nothing too out of the ordinary. It looks like now Aizamk is going to be running into the enemy explorer. So it looks like he could potentially pick this one up. Now keep in mind, plenty of HP on Aizamk's hero, 310. He goes in, grabs the steel, very nicely stolen from Aizamk. A bit of a difficult spot now, though, because the problem is if you're playing aggressive against China in the first age, in the early age, you've got a primary issue, and that is that China is very, very strong. China are probably even stronger than Spain in Age 1. And that is just because of the Disciple. Obviously, the Disciple, he's a fast boy. He's running around. I'm having a look for him now. There he is. He's just up here, the Disciple. And what we can do with the Disciple, we can do a lot of different things. So you can see Aiz is actually trying to break the snare that has been ensnared upon him by the Chinese monk at this point. So there you see him going for it. But the problem is this monk, this Disciple here, is going to be able to block the Explorer once it gets in. So we see the Disciple now crossing over. So not only is it going to be out dishing damage, we can see the really good control here from Absolute Utopia. He's going to be able to get DPS out, and he's going to be able to block. You see that block right there? There's nothing you can do about that. This Explorer is good as dead. So I guess you got to ask that question, Aiz, was it really worth that 40 XP? I mean, you knew what could happen. You knew what could happen. And now you're going to be giving over a huge amount of XP over to your opponent. Now, keep in mind, guys, this is not on the most recent patch. The most recent patch has been rolled back just because of a few issues that are going on with the United States. So I'm actually able to cast these games. These were some of the games that I talked about. So we see the 100 XP coming down. So on the new patch, you're not going to be getting 100 XP for killing that Explorer. So I tell you what, 100 XP over here probably isn't worth it on this patch. But on the most recent patch, it's probably worth it. So keep an eye out for that one. I'll shout you guys out. I'll give you an update once I actually do know anything about those patches. But at the moment, I think it's just a little bit of they're just rolling it back. And now we've got a bit of a treasure contention coming out. A's sending out the villager. Looks like Absolute Utopia probably did pick that one up. And definitely picking up the 75 wood. So really nice treasure there from him as well. We'll take a look at his deck, see what he's got. Pretty stock standard stuff. Not a lot of Age 4 cards. Sometimes you do see that sort of 5, 6, even 7 shipments in Age 4, just to potentially give that option there. He's got the Sega herd. Each town, center, and village will do a one-time muster of 4 Sagas. So this isn't, it's not a very common card that you see this one. But I guess that really adds up when you think about it. If a Saga's what, 400 food, and let's say, so 1,600 food per one. So you've got like 5 and 2, so 7, 1,600, 7 times 1,600. So you're looking at, that's like more than 10,000 food. That's a fair amount of food, I guess. That's pretty reasonable, as long as you've got all your upgrades. I mean, there's no spice trade in here, no refrigeration, but I'm sure it's still pretty damn good once you get into that. So now going up with the Summer Palace, which is pretty much the stock standard age up. Also finding a 60 wood treasure down here to the south. Really, really nice Age 1 for Absolute Utopia. Obviously didn't find this 80 wood treasure that Aizamk got, but picking up the 75 food treasure as well as the 60 wood treasure. So not too bad. Now we'll take a look, tune in on Aizamk's side, see what he's up to. He's got his Explorer up and alive now. Mr. Charles Lee from Aizamk is alive. We'll have a look once again on his deck. So I suspect what we're going to be seeing out of Aiz. So he's obviously not going for Dutch immigrants. This is something that I guess has fallen a little bit out of the meta. The Dutch immigrants are just a bit too expensive to invest in. You kind of use a shipment up on it. And what's been happening with the United States is people have been going a lot more, or trending a lot more towards fast fortress, and very, quite literally, naked fast fortress. Like, I'm not wearing any pants, naked fast fortress. It's pretty ridiculous. And so I suspect that's probably what we're going to be seeing out of Aiz. He's probably going to be looking to match some sort of Chinese aggression in the Fortress Age, because, you know, Chinese very rarely play Age 2 aggression. Normally, when it's coming to China, you're playing like that Age 3 sort of timing push, you know, get the ball rolling, that sort of thing. You know, that's essentially what you're looking at with China. But for the United States, so now we see Aiz is aging up. So going up with, I'm assuming he's gone up with, yes, okay, so he's gone up with Virginia. Sending 700 coin, got that barracks down in his base. So not opting to build the barracks. One of the things that you do see some United States players do is they'll say, all right, I'm going to make a forward base. And, you know, you can choose where you want to do it. Do you want to do it over here? Do you want to do it in the center of the map? Do you want to do it off to the side? Normally, it's off to the side in a little bit of a defensive location. So if I was like Aiz, I'd probably be like, put my racks here and then stick my flag right there. And then so the flag is empowering my racks. And then my 2 town centers, when I age up, they're going to go down, one here, one here. And then if any fight happens, I'm going to lead my opponent over to this flag so that I get a boost of my unit's attack. That's the way I'd be doing it. So now we see that 700 coin coming in. Aiz got it down on the ground. Pretty nice age up time here. Going to be up before 5 minutes 30, it looks like. Probably going to be going up with that New Hampshire. It is indeed New Hampshire. Also got Virginia General Assembly in the queue. So pretty nice, pretty smooth build order here from Aiz. This is going to come in before his timer runs out for New Hampshire, because it does take quite a while to age up. Let's go back in and tune in on Absolute Utopia, see what he's up to. So it looks like he's actually going to be playing Age 2. We do have a War Academy now coming down in the south. Just a single villager out here, so not a huge amount of attention that's really been put here. Definitely looks a little bit more delayed. 9 Kyung pikemen as well coming in. Now only just now putting the village down. I don't know if this village is going to get up in time for the Kyung pikemen to be delivered, but we'll have to take a look. Now, this is interesting to go Age 2 against the United States, just primarily because with the United States, most players are going to be doing fast fortress. Like, if I was playing up against Sweden and I'm playing in the Chinese players' perspective, I'm thinking this is a pretty good opening, because, you know, you're going to get plenty of siege out of this. It's still relatively early in the game. The village actually does manage to get up, so Absolute Utopia managing to time his build order quite well. Obviously sending the 700 wood, but despite that, sending the pikemen back home. So a little bit of a mistake right there. A's now hitting up at 6 minutes 27. Jeez, that is quick. And now got the state capital out, opting to send a factory as the first card. So New Hampshire manufacturing is what it's going to be. So instead of sending something like 3 Gatlings or even the regulars, opting for the factory. So very, very greedy. He's got quite a nice little mass building up. So this has got the 6 Minuteman, 5 regulars. This is going to be more than enough to ward this off. A huge amount of damage that just goes out onto the Chinese Explorer, which is exactly what he wants to be targeting down. Let's see what happens. He's probably going to back off and take out the Explorer. Let's see. No, it looks like he's just going to be doing a bit of attack move. We've got some more reinforcements coming in from the east and some more reinforcements coming in from the north. A huge amount of units that have just sort of like coming out of nowhere. At this point, Aiz isn't looking the best when it comes to his macro. He's got 5 idols sitting under his TCs. His factory is about to come in. And imagine 3 Gatlings popping out right now, how beautiful that would look. It would literally clean up all of this. It wouldn't even be close. But unfortunately for Aiz, he's now sending 3 Gatlings as his second card in Age 3. The factory is coming up. And it means that he's in a little bit of a difficult spot, I would say, because how many units have you got in your base? You've got, well, 13 pikemen and 8 Shokunu. So that's a fair, decent amount, considering you've got reinforcements coming in, more reinforcements in queue at the moment, 7 step riders coming in behind this as well. So triple unit shipment threat. We've also got, we've actually got more batches coming in from the Summer Palace as well. A huge amount is going on now. A's doing a little bit of defense with his settlers. Let's take a look and see from Ace's perspective. We've got the 3 Gatlings that are about to pop in right now. Let's take a look. Here they come. 3, 2, 1. Let's have a look at the perspective of Utopia. And they just take them out. A's does a nice little pop protecting with his villagers. The villagers on really preventing a lot of any damage coming in from this angle. He's got all 3 Gatlings still up, putting out a huge amount of fire. It looks like the majority of the units have died here. First Gatling going down, second Gatling going down. He's got a 3rd Gatling that remains. The Explorer does go down. The 7 step riders are now coming in. They're going to be able to clean this mess up. But the villagers are still alive and still pumping. And one of the things to consider with the United States villages is these aren't like normal villages. These are much stronger villages. They've got the big range resist. They've got higher health pool. They're faster. They're prettier. And they can't possibly be beaten. But in all seriousness, they're really, really strong villages. So you can't be underestimating them. But despite that, it looks like A's isn't in the best position. We'll take a look at his shipment, see what's coming in next. Going for 8 regulars. So a bit more of a defensive play. Hasn't lost a lot of villagers. I think at most he's probably lost 1 villager. I did see him up at 19 villagers. So now going down to 18. He's got those 2 regulars coming in, 8 regulars behind it. Absolute Utopia, instead of opting to go for the barracks or even the factory, just going straight for the town center, probably a good idea. Bit of the choke, you know, going straight for the chokehold, I guess. Is that the right term? Going for the throat, I guess we could say. Now the 8 regulars about to pop. There they pop, going to be entering into melee, getting in on top of all the units underneath. Looks like he tried to pick off a couple of the horses, the step riders, but they're going to be able to manage to get away from it. The town center's under 3,000 health, less than 50% remaining on that. But I think this is a relatively easy hold for Aiz at this point. Score's now breaking up as well, so we've got about more than a 2,000 point lead from this point, and it definitely looks like Aiz has stabilized. He's got his factory up, 5.5 food per second, so despite having only 2 villagers on food, he's still got quite a reasonable income, almost losing another villager there as well. Now dropping down the market as well. We'll take a look back at Absolute Utopia. We'll see exactly where he is at. Sending in the 9 Chuko news from the home city. I thought he'd actually already sent this in, but he must have been population blocked when he did have his last shipment coming in. So that's going to be a relatively decent power spike for him. The main issue that he's got is not a lot of siege, not a lot of pikemen, but I guess against the United States, you don't really need pikemen. The only real threat that you need pikemen for is for that Pulaski Legion. That is really what's going to do it. So those Chapka Ulans, that's 12 Chapka Ulans, and they're going to pop out, and, you know, they will just absolutely shred all of this right here. We've now got Minutemen being called as well from Aizamk. So a little bit of action coming out. Aizamk still with a nice little score lead. Fair bit of damage coming out onto the state capital. No town centers out yet for Aiz. Been still quite greedy with this factory. Think about this as like an 11 villager shipment, because that's essentially what it is. So the villager count for A is looking pretty good. He's sitting on about 31 villagers at the moment, compared to 29 of his opponent. Opponent does have the Summer Palace, which is equivalent to about 4 villagers, if I remember correctly. So about 33 to 31. So not too bad, relatively even. Just keep in mind, A's is up an age, though. That's where the primary difference is going to come in. We take a look and we see the population for Absolute Utopia is beginning to build those. 66 up against 35 total. Ace has now got a shipment, losing that state capital, so that's going to be going over, translated into a lot of XP now for Absolute Utopia. That 700 coin going to be coming in behind it. Could potentially be looking to age up, could potentially just be looking to stay in H2. He's got the Old Hand Army in training at the moment, but he could be switching it up. He could go transition over with the 700 coin into the Standard Army, which is going to give him the 2 Step Riders and the 3 Chukunos. But we check in on Aizamk. We see that he's sending in 54th Massachusetts. So this is a card that's fallen in and out of favor with a lot of the United States players. At the moment, for me, it's fallen out of favor. But obviously for Ace, it's doing relatively well. He's got quite a nice mass that's been built up right now. Minuteman's still on relatively long cooldown. He's also getting the Frontiersman. So this is like the combined upgrade for United States settlers. It increases their the settler attack range, the settler attack. It also increases their health pool. So you can see the settlers now coming in, being brought in, going to be doing a little bit of the fighting. Look at the tankiness on that Cour de Bois, taking a shot to the face and just really not dealing with it. Now the 54th Massachusetts coming in behind this. You're going to be able to fend this off. Have a look at all the units that you've got in here. 10 regulars, 5 state militia, 5 Minutemen. But look at all those villagers. I'm trying to select them, but I can't because I've got, you know what I've got, guys? I've got new patch feelings. So all my hotkeys have gone. And obviously one of that is the flare. So I'm just giving you guys some flares. You guys see what I was flaring right there? That was a flare on the tree up here. Yes. But, you know, when we take a look at that, we can see that is, you know, roughly 13 villagers. These guys are putting out mean amounts of DPS. That's 6 times 11. That's 66. That's pretty decent. You know, they're not going to one-shot, a step rider or something like that, but they're still going to be doing pretty good damn work. So really nice to see. Huge amount of health. And keep in mind, they've got that extra base movement speed because of the French immigrants. So really paying off into Aza's build here by going French immigrants. In the most recent patch, we have seen capitalism buffed because the developers are trying to make it a bit more attractive for United States players and say, hey, give this a go. But when you consider the fact that there's huge buffs like this that you've got access to from the very beginning of the game, it really makes it feel difficult for you to want to go capitalism. He's now looking in a pretty comfortable spot. He's not really healing up his... Oh, I take that back. He's healed up his town center. His town center is now back up at full HP. A lot of villagers moving over to coin. He's sitting pretty solid. He's got his factory on coin as well. So I think at this point, he can really just sit and mass. The main issue that he's going to have is he's got a stable, and he's up against a tri-unit composition. So he's up against pikes. He's up against the Chokunus, and he's up against the Step Riders. And the main issue that he's going to have is that, well, he's going to lose out on these units eventually. Minutemen now being called, but the thing is, he needs like Gatlings. He needs Pulaski's Legion. He needs something quite big, and it does kind of look like he's actually macroing in that direction. He's going to have the house going up as well. The factories on wood definitely going towards that Pulaski's Legion. So at this point, there's a couple different things that he could be doing, but you can see with the shipment coming in, he's not going to be making, you know, a batch or two of state militia at this point. He's going to be keeping all of this because he needs to be going for Pulaski's Legion. 24 population, a huge mercenary shipment that's going to be coming in. Takes quite a while, though. About 60 seconds for Pulaski's Legion to come in. So I say about, but it's actually on the money, 60 seconds. So quite a big shipment out. Now take a look at the ballooning size of this army here. A huge amount of military units, 17 Shokunu. And we've also got Tiger Claws. Sorry, I say Tiger Claws. Rattan Shields coming in from the home city. So that's going to be a nice little mercenary shipment. Now, these guys are kind of like Coyote runners or Chimu runners from the Aztecs and the Incas. They don't have any bonuses against anything. They're kind of like cavalry units that have just got... They look like infantry. You look at them and you're like, that's an infantry unit. It's not. It's one of those special classes of units that get counted by pikemen and dragoons and all that kind of stuff. It's a cavalry unit in disguise. So he's a little bit confused, but that's okay. We still like him. He's quite expensive as well. 500 coin for only 10 of them. So, you know, I suspect we're going to see a nice little timing push coming in from Absolute Utopia here. Once those Rattan Shields arrive, we've got the Explorer here. No real use of Disciples. I'd like to see a bit more Disciple usage. We have got that shipment coming back into the home city, or back to the town center. It's very curious that Absolute Utopia, but despite being, you know, in the top 20, top 30, isn't using this forward village. It seems like a very basic mechanic. And not using it. Also getting the standard army in now. Really committing to this H2. 36 villages at the moment. Huge amount of military production coming in. So the 10 Rattan Shields, let's take a look at them. So they've got 20% range resist, 185 health. So basically half of a Hussar, but 16 damage, and they've got really, really good pathing. So this is like kind of like a 5 Hussar shipment if you think about it like that. But we do have Pulaski's Legion coming in right now. Pulaski's Legion going to be moving in on the front line. We've got the flag going down over to the right-hand side. Pulaski's Legion not really getting off a very effective attack move right there. A little bit of a swing over to the side. The pikes are all on the front. A really terrible engagement for Aiz, and he's going to be absolutely cleaned up here. Aiz somehow managing to lose all of his Ulans at the front to just a handful of pikemen, and they're Chinese pikemen, the worst pikemen in the game. So, absolute utopia at this point. Really going over the top. Now sending in some upgrades as well. Standard army hit points on top of this and just making a whole bunch of standard army. Probably got a few too many villages in queue, but that's a consequence of the poor macro. Only having up the single war academy, so not transitioning into that double war academy just yet. His economy has outgrown his infrastructure. We'll take a look at Aizamk, see what he's got coming in. It really doesn't look like Aizamk's going to be able to hold this. He's got an artillery foundry going up right now. It's in a bit of an awkward position. I can't imagine this gets up just because this villager is going to be going down very quickly. 31 villagers. Aiz is down to now. We've got some state militia up on the north side that are going to be coming down. Another villager going down. So this artillery foundry is going to be going up. Oh, there's a whole bunch of villages that you could barely see that were building up the artillery foundry. Now we've got villagers popping in and out. We'll take a look. There's nothing being trained. Some Minutemen popping out now. So we've got Minutemen on the backline, state militia here from all sides. Villagers also coming in to sort of do a bit of tanking. We've got 10 villagers now popping out on the north side of the map. Look at them all getting into melee, getting amongst the what would I even say? Getting amongst the action right now. I guess that's probably the best bet. Rattan Shields out here doing a little bit of damage onto the Minutemen. And still Aizamk looking like he's actually going to be able to pull... How does Aizamk pull this out? How does he routinely do this? This is the second time where I've been looking at Aizamk and I'm like, there's no way he does this. And he manages to do it. Now also shipping in 5 regulars. The best shipment he's got is an H2 shipment. A couple of his units getting chased away by those Rattan Shields. He's still got villagers on the front line, managing to do a little bit of hitting, a little bit of running. 9 villagers in the town center, managing to fire it off. Now, keep in mind, United States doesn't have access to the town militia card, or the colonial militia card, as it used to be called, which means his town center isn't going to be doing a whole lot of damage. It's just that very basic 90 damage. And despite that, it looks like Aiz is still managing to lose a fair amount of villagers, going down more than 7 villagers, losing all of his army, but still trying his best to hold on. He's got the 5 regulars that are about to pop out. He needs to keep those alive. Villagers now getting popped. Muskets at the same time. Muskets coming out of the town center. All of the villagers are being called. We've got villagers coming down from the south up to the north, and we've got more villagers moving in. These villagers are dishing out some damage. This is incredible. We've got one villager getting popped inside the town center. Ace just microing this absolutely impeccably. And still, despite all this, Ace is able to hold. I am confident at this point Ace is holding. He mustn't have been counting on the fact that his opponent would be playing such a distinct Age 2 style. We really don't see this coming out of China a lot, but it's great to see that, you know, despite Ace getting up to the 3rd age in 6 minutes and 25 seconds, that Absolute Utopia is still able to give him such a run for his money despite that, you know, that fact. We've now got reinforcing batches of state militia coming in from the north, probably going to be taking out a few of these pikemen. Main issue that he's going to have is that we go back to that tri composition. He's got the archers, he's got the lancer units, and he's also got the pikemen. So absolutely everything is getting amongst it. Take a look at the Kurita Bar just meleeing one of those Rattan shields in the face. Holy moly. Explorer now going down for the Chinese player as well. And we'll take a look back. We'll see what Absolute Utopia is up to. He's going up to the 3rd age. He's on 43 villages. He is doing absolutely fine for himself. Does he have a market up yet? Let's have a look. I don't actually see a market. This is I am so impressed. We're at 17 minutes and there's no market. This guy, you keep in mind, guys, this guy is a really high caliber player. He is like, this is like top 20 player. He qualified for the global championship, so he's at least top 32. But if I remember correctly, he's top 20. So this is really decent level. And to think that this guy is, I mean, he's not even. This is base gather rates. You don't need markets when you're here. I am noticing though. Be careful. Be careful, my friend, because this is very dangerous. Very, very dangerous trading post. Now, apparently in the most recent patch, this has been fixed. So perhaps we won't see this coming up anymore. I'm curious what you guys think about the tempo of this game. Whether the tempo of the game has gone quite well, or whether you'd like me to speed up through some of those a bit more lulsome, is that the right word? Lulsome early game stages. Taking a look at Ace's perspective, I think it really is indicative of the early game and how much he really got out there. He hasn't explored more than like, what, 20% of the map? He's got all of this water, all of that water, this entire side of the map that just needs to be checked. And we take a look at Absolute Utopia and he's explored pretty much everything except for the water. So he's doing not too bad. Now the 5 meteor hammers are going to be coming in as well. And we take a look at the mass that begins to build. He's got 91 unit population now. He's going to be popping out the British Expeditionary Force as well, which is going to be giving the Falconet as well as the Redcoats. So we're going to take a look down at that. So we've got 9 Redcoats. Now keep in mind, these are upgraded Redcoats. These aren't just your standard veteran Redcoats. These are veteran Redcoats with a little bit extra. So it's like an extra 10%, an extra 20%. I'm not sure exactly what it is. We can probably do the math right now, though. So 150. So your veterancy is 20%. So that would take you up to 180. And then so you've got an extra 25 on top of that. So it's basically, I think it must be like about a 15%, 18% increase on consulate units. So pretty darn good, pretty darn nice. We'll take a look at Aizamk, see what he's up to. So Aizamk doing his best to rebuild. Now, keep in mind, he lost a huge amount of villages. He did manage to hold on for dear life there, but he lost a lot of villages as a result. Down to 28 villages at the moment. We take a look at Absolute Utopia. So Absolute Utopia is sitting on that comfy 47 villager mark. He's got the Summer Palace, which takes him up to about 51. He's then got the Confucian Academy, which is training a free-flying crow, which I think is about 5 villages. So realistically, you're looking at about 60, or about 58 villages versus 28 and a factory. So that's 28 and a factory. So about 39. So a very distinct difference there, about 20 villager difference. We've also got Ace sending in Irish immigrants at this point as well. This is going to be timed after the 20-minute mark. So he's actually going to see pretty nice results from this. So this is going to be, if I'm doing the math correctly, this is not going to be correct. It's going to be more than that. It's going to be, yeah, there it is, 2, 4, and 4. So getting 10 settlers out of this, but I don't think 10 settlers is exactly what he needs right now. 10 settlers all going into the town center, going to be laying down fire, focusing down that Falconet. You can see the Falconet using now he's using the settlers. No way, he's not doing this again. He is not doing this again. Moving the settlers are moving out towards the Falconet. The Falconet is going to go down. It's a single Falconet, but he's going to be taken out by the settlers on the back line. The Gatling guns are getting focused down by the meteor hammers, as well as the iron flails. The town, or the villagers, now managing to take out the settlers. That is so impressive. A's using the Irish immigrants, coming in and literally saying, Irish immigrants, I'm teleporting you guys in from the home city, shipping you guys in from the home city, and you're just going to be straight onto that Falconet. Wow. I didn't think of the Irish immigrants as a military shipment, but Aizamk, he does. Wow. What an impressive play from him. Now, he has lost all of his artillery. He's going to be in a difficult spot. No more artillery in queue at the moment. He can potentially train it now. He's got that one Gatling in queue. His town center is going down to 1800 HP. He's got a few villagers out. He's going to start beginning to melee down some more units. Is he going to potentially be able to pull this off? At this point, I'm looking at this army. I'm like, Ace, I don't think that you can you can't do that. There's too much here at this point. And pulling more settlers. At this point, Ace is pulling more settlers. This guy is ridiculous. This guy is on another level. This is truly the most impressive villager plays I've ever seen. Look at the villagers just getting into the mix. He knows he's got to keep his military alive. If he doesn't keep his military alive, he can't win because he can't kill the units. So he has to give up the villagers. But the problem is he's giving up too many villagers. Over the course of the game, we take a look at his opponent, 51 villagers compared to him on 21. And it definitely seems like a good idea if you can manage to keep your head above water. But the problem is for Ace, he is drowning at a faster rate than he is swimming. And it just means that even though he's got these Gatling guns out on the back line, that they're going to be able to get cleaned up by the Meteor Hammer. They've got that 2x bonus on the back line. Really, really impressive game. I don't think from here, Ace is going to possibly be able to win this. And I think it's just a matter of time until we actually see the GG getting called. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to speed it up. And there, we actually just see the GG getting called right there. We'll take a quick look at the post-game. Fellas, what an absolute ripper of a game. All resources. Have a look at just how far Absolute Utopia is ahead of the United States with that H2 China build. We'll take a look at the villager population. Look at that spike going up from 29 villagers up to 40 and then straight back down to 20. So really putting those Irish immigrants to work. Very impressive to see. And we'll take a look at military unit population, or military unit count is probably a little bit better. And yeah, huge crush defeat right there. Look at Absolute Utopia going down to 1 military unit. And really impressive fights there from Ace, but you know, able to rebuild his army very quickly. So well played to Ace. Fellas, I hope you enjoyed the game, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.